and welcome to In Business Talks 2. We are thrilled to welcome you to our bonus episode of the Friday Fix. In our bonus episode, we will be discussing a business-related subject with either one of our wonderful In Business Networking members or a fellow business owner who will be sharing their advice, thoughts or knowledge on a particular topic.
We're your hosts, Tracy and Ian Earle, founders of In Business, a networking and business support community. We host online and face-to-face events and we'd love to meet you, so why not come along? The link to book is in the show notes. Today's guest is Jamie Marshall of Everon, and they basically say great technology simplified. So delivering exceptional outcomes from technology for those within the regulated industries across the Northern Powerhouse. As technology has become more central to every business, merely keeping systems running is no longer enough. IT and managed services companies should work alongside their clients at a management level to ensure that their technology supports their goals and resolves their challenges. Okay, so welcome to our Friday Fix today. We have Jamie Marshall with us of Everon. Welcome, Jamie. Lovely to see you.
Hiya, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome, Jamie. Good to have you with us today. I suppose we should start by asking you to tell us a little bit about what you do.
So my company Everon is based in Leeds, and we basically work with sort of SMEs across the northern districts, so Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool, and we help them to deliver kind of, well, we call it exceptional outcomes from the use of technology. So we help people with their IT, with their cloud, their security, but we also kind of try and, rather than just do the traditional break fix things that a lot of IT companies do where they keep systems running or alive, they actually try and change IT to bring return on investment for clients and companies. So that might be through the use of automation and AI, where we'll take a process and we'll streamline it to kind of help reduce the resources the company needs, or we might be able to help take a new process entirely and then generate some return on investment by allowing their internal staff to do more with this freed up time.
Okay, that sounds good.
What sort of clients do you have? Are they SMEs? Are they bigger companies?
SMEs is the kind of market we're working within, and regulated industry is kind of our niche. So we have a big vertical in the legal sector, accountants, insurance companies, a few sort of non-profits. Anywhere where you kind of your governing body kind of applies some strict guidelines or rules, we tend to add more value because we understand those frameworks and we understand what's needed to kind of make sure you're not breaching any of them, basically.
Yeah, I suppose it's really important in those industries, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It is.
Okay.
And it's nice to talk to a fellow Leeds.
Yeah, a Leeds person.
Business,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about the advantages technology can bring to a small business to help them compete with the larger organisations.
So what are those advantages? Reveal all, Jamie, reveal all.
So yeah, I mean, I'll probably start by saying there's never been a time in history, or in my lifetime anyway, where a smaller business can come out of, well, a startup can come out and compete with some of the same tools that a larger business or a more established business would use. I think traditionally you'd have to have in-house servers, people to run those teams, you'd have to pay for hardware and software, and the cost or the point of entry would be quite high. Whereas now with the kind of emergence of the cloud over the last however many years, 10, 15 years, I think people of all sizes and demographics can access that technology straight away. So we're a massive advocate of Microsoft 365 here at Everon. I know Microsoft might get bad reps sometimes, but I think the amount of features and the different products that actually bundle into Microsoft 365 nowadays is actually massive. And if you actually were to look at the individual elements of it, probably the price to charge it for the licensing isn't too bad value. One of the things we sort of find, and this is why at Everon we try and do more than kind of just the traditional break fix, is people probably only use a really small percentage of the Microsoft 365 cloud. So 99% of companies probably use it, but they probably only use their email and maybe a bit of OneDrive, but they won't know about some of these more advanced features.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Microsoft or tech companies generally do a bad job of educating people on that. And I think you can now take something like Microsoft 365, which most people have, and find a layer or a suite of automation and business process improvement software embedded within it. You're probably already paying for these sort of things, you're just probably not using them. So having a look at what you're actually buying and being able to kind of understand the different software apps and the different uses, probably a good place to start for most businesses, just to unlock potential they already have access to but just not using.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that, because I came across the other. I mean, we got Microsoft, but I came across something the other day, and they're bringing out. I don't know, AI is the new thingy bob, isn't it? But they're bringing out something which is AI based, where it does all sorts of weird and wonderful things. I think is it the beta stage or something, and you got to apply for it, but it looks really interesting what it can do. Am I talking rubbish here? Is it Microsoft? I think it's Microsoft.
No, I think you're definitely on the right track. ChatGPT is the big topical one everyone will have heard of, I think, in the last few months. Microsoft actually own a big stake in ChatGPT. So they've developed something called BingBot, which essentially is the Microsoft rebranded version of it. And then they're having something called Copilot.
So basically, Copilot. Yes, that was it. Yes.
Inside your Word, inside your Outlook, inside your Excel, kind of that granular level, Copilot will run and be able to help with different tasks and functions. So, for example, if you were talking about an email exchange between you and a client about arranging a meeting, Copilot will be able to understand what's happening in that conversation and be able to schedule that meeting automatically for you. You won't have to go into your calendar and do it. Likewise, in Teams, if you are having a Teams meeting, it'll transcribe the meeting automatically for you. It will pick out who said which bits, and then it will create personalized task lists or to-dos out of the kind of meeting recordings. So it's going to be absolutely massive. I think people think it's still quite far ahead, some of the possibilities, and still quite in the future, but it is going to be the buzzword is automation and AI for 2023. So I think
it's
if
scary,
you don't use it now, you'll be using it.
It's scary what it can do, isn't it? When you think about it, when you can type something into a bloody computer and it talks to you and answers all your questions and does things for you, think, wow. I mean, when I first found it by accident, I didn't want to share it. I thought, this is great. This is great. I'm not telling anyone. Of course, the world knew about it 3 minutes after I'd found it, or probably. But I thought it was brilliant. But it's an amazing stuff.
You had great fun with it, didn't you?
Yeah. So have you used ChatGPT? Have you?
I have. I've tried it a few times. I have to be careful. It's a bit addictive. But I also find as well that it doesn't. I think you got to ask it in the right way, haven't you? Is it the prompts? They call them prompts or something. And I've also found that a lot of the times it seems to ignore me and isn't able to answer what I'm asking, and I don't understand it. Sometimes I'm thinking, what? I don't ask because everybody's on it and it's so busy. But it just sometimes it wasn't as good as it was when I first went on it. Let me put it that way. It seems to be more.
No, I mean, it's obviously evolving through the interactions it's having with people. I know there's stories where it's given out wrong information, but it's obviously been through transactions beforehand with that person or with a group of people where they've fed it wrong information or it's learned the wrong things and then regurgitated it. It's definitely not perfect. It's growing. So I think the version 4 they just released, I can't remember how many times more powerful than the third version is, but it's just a massive leap in how much more it can do. And I think the trajectory is only going to be more and more kind of massive for how it goes. The other thing I'd say is, I mean, I use it all the time. I absolutely love it. But I'm really specific now with what I ask. So I started off by asking just kind of one-liners. Now I might ask it something, but I might feed it 2 paragraphs of information before I've asked the question. So I give it background into the sort of things, like, for example, in the marketing bits I'm doing now, if I look at creating video scripts, I'm actually using reference adverts or reference like points for AI to show it what I'm trying to establish or what vibe I'm trying to go for. Yeah, then I might feed it in a bit about the product or service that I want to talk about. And then I'll say, this is what I want my advert to do, this and this. Can you help me create me a script? Whereas back in kind of start, I would have just said, can you create me a script for an advert about this? And it would have been quite generic and vague. Whereas now I find the more you put into it, you can get some really good outputs from it, but you have to be more descriptive or informative.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I'm falling down on some of mine.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But I think, as I say, what I'd suggest everybody do is make sure the Microsoft suites are up to date. Make sure you understand what's included in your suite, and then things like Copilot will naturally just evolve and become part of your Microsoft 365 in the near future. There's little bits that are there already, like people who use Visio in the past. It'll do some scheduling tools. It'll, for example, if you want to send an email and you do it out of hours, it'll prompt now and say, should I send this at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning instead? So there's little bits like that creeping in, but it won't probably fully take place until it becomes Copilot.
Yeah. Sounds interesting.
So are there any other advantages you can think of that will help?
Yes, I mean, I'd say automation and AI we kind of just covered briefly there. That's one that's going to help you do more with less people. So if you're a 2-3 person startup company and you're competing against a 25 user, 25 staff company, you can use automation and AI to kind of make up some of the difference in people. Obviously, it's going to give you a bigger presence or a bigger footprint than you'd have as just a small collective. So that'd be something that I'd look at. But even in terms of, as long as you're using technology correctly, there's networks like People Per Hour, Upworks that you might have heard of, where if you've systemized a task or a role, even if you don't teach a computer to do it, you could actually pay somebody, a freelancer or a contractor to do those things. So again, you don't have to hire big groups of people to be able to compete with bigger, larger organizations if you can kind of be systematic in your approach and make sure you're outsourcing the right things, but using your technology stack. So don't let somebody create something in their own systems because you'll be forever held to ransom to it. If you're creating everything in your own 365, for example, and it's all cloud-based, and you're just letting contractors and freelancers dial into that system, they're just topping up your workforce all the time without you having to grow a big team.
Oh, yeah, see what you mean, yeah.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, outsourcing and...
What do you find sort of your clients are their biggest issues with all this sort of stuff? What is it that they don't know what's in 365 or whatever? What do you come across?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so for a lot of our clients, we're obviously doing that day-to-day IT support. So one advantage we have when I go down and sit with the client is I can look through their contact history with us in the last 30, 60, 90, 100 days, whatever we do. And I can see that they might have had so many hours of staff time disrupted by a certain piece of software or a certain problem type. And then we can look at kind of saying, right, well, this new technology or this automation or this kind of new process would resolve that. I think people just get stuck in a mindset of, it's a problem, we fixed it, without actually fixing the root cause. And I think if people don't understand how far technology has come and how far you can actually take it, then they'll only ever just be stuck doing the kind of short-term fixes rather than looking at the bigger picture. So education on what's available and how it can work within your business is a massive flaw, I think, in the SME world, not just within specific businesses. Like I say, IT companies don't do a good job of explaining this to people. Like Microsoft don't explain it because they're only interested in bigger organizations and they leave it to kind of the smaller companies. So what I kind of see at the minute is once we've kind of delivered an automation or a business improvement piece through a piece of technology, it's almost like there's a light bulb moment in the client's head, and all of a sudden they're fully bought into it. Then they're 100 mile an hour. We want to do this, and this next. But up until the point that you've delivered that first piece, it still feels a bit alien or a bit out of reach for most companies, I think. And the industry, I guess, is so fast moving that it's hard to keep. I work in IT, and it's hard to keep up with some of the new terms, the new softwares, the trends. So for somebody who his job and role doesn't involve any technology, it must be an absolute minefield, I can imagine.
Yeah.
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 So is that what you do? You educate companies?
Yeah, so I mean, my role specifically now within Everon is the sales and marketing. So um, we've tried to go out and kind of say, look at automation, we can do this and do this for your business, we can deliver this, but people don't believe it. People can't see it or envisage it. So my kind of approach has changed recently, and we do webinars now. We do kind of lots of educational pieces. Even with our own clients that we already have, we have tech reviews now. So up to 4 times a year, we'll come and sit down with you. We'll only look at problems or solutions we can deliver with new tech that you're not already using. And we'll invite you to bring pins and kind of problems to the table, which we'll then find new pieces of software or new process to resolve. So it's getting that ball rolling. And I think, like I did mention, 2023 will be massive for automation. Microsoft are plowing a lot of energy into that at the minute with Bingbot Copilot. There's a thing called Power Apps and low code, no code now. So you could develop an app, a small app, without having to know any code. So you can literally tell a system what you want it to do almost, and it will then go and create it itself. So people's perception hopefully will change this year.
You've piqued my interest there. So we could create an app then for our membership. So is that something we could do? We could create an app that we could share amongst our members fairly easily, or is it?
Yes. So depending on, obviously, we need to understand what your scope is, what your outcomes are. But using the Microsoft Power Platform. So just to go one step back, you have Microsoft 365 as an environment or an ecosystem. You have a Dynamics ecosystem, but then you have this Power ecosystem. So you have Power BI, which does reporting. You have Power Apps, which is this new kind of functionality where you used to be able to code an app, and then you have Power Automate. All three ecosystems can interlink. So, for example, you could have your Power App and your newly created members app or booking system, whatever it might be, but it would link with your Microsoft 365 and your Outlook calendars, for example. You just need to kind of have a scope of works defined as to what you want that to do and how you want to do it. And what I'd say is, especially within the Power Cloud, a lot of people have created things already. So Microsoft will have a library of predefined apps or functionality, and you can basically bolt 2, 3, 4 different things together.
Right.
They also allow, obviously, people that are creating things to put them back into that library. So you might find that rather than having to go and create something, even though it is no code now, you might find you could just find the functionality in different bolt-ons that are already there.
Yeah.
Link them all together, and then you just have to dictate how you want that data flow to work with your existing systems.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think technology is all a little bit over my head.
Well, to mine a large part as well. I'm some basic stuff I'm all right, but I'm just, it's just
stuff like that. It's just
it's for younger folk as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Did someone was telling me? So I'm 36 now. Someone was telling me there's a age, is it 35 or above, where once a new technology comes around, you're really suspicious of it, and then I think once you hit 50, you actually don't care about it because you're kind of set on the path you're on, and you're not interested in new technology. So
you get a bit set in your ways.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You just want it to do what it does now, don't you? I mean, this AI stuff is exciting. I think it's exciting. But it's both scary and exciting. What do you think? What do you think then in Europe? Sort of talking AI. Is the one that sort of jumps out? You think, oh my god, this is. I know Chat GPT and the Copilot stuff, but is there something else out there? You think, oh my god, this is going to be massive. This is going to just revolutionise everything. Or are we already there with Chat GPT 4?
I think I think there's difference. Obviously, is it Bard bot that Google have? Everybody has their own version, or will have a version of it. I think the advantage of ChatGPT and the Copilot Microsoft stuff is Microsoft have the biggest market share. So if you're going to teach somebody or something an AI to learn, and you've got billions of data points, it is going to learn a lot quicker than something with 1 million data points. So I think they're all going to kind of revolutionize the world in their own way. I think the Bingbot will become, Bingbot ChatGPT, the Microsoft variant will become the dominant one just because Microsoft are the dominant force already in terms of tech. But my hope would be that it's quite seamless. I think the more you notice that it's AI or a particular kind of app or automation happening, the less like you are to gel with it. I think where stuff is really seamless and it's just integrated in small kind of little ways that are hidden and you don't really notice, that's where AI will take over, but people won't really be aware it's happening.
How will AI
Uh,
affect Google then when you're doing your because potentially your Google searches and all that? It could be different, couldn't it, in the future? It could be more conversational rather than
yeah.
find me this.
So
You know what I mean? Is that
that's kind of the way that I know the Bingbot demo was a bit of a fail when they did it. It pulled back some wrong information, but that is going to be the way people interact, and people will ask a question or have a conversation, and then the information will come back from different sources rather than you looking down a list of websites and
Yeah.
picking the one you like potentially. I think it's interesting already because I did learn that. I don't know if you guys use TikTok or if that's something
No.
that you're not interested in. Is it Gen Z or millennials? One group, one demographic of people actually use TikTok as their search engine more than they use Google. So if they want to find out about products, rather than Google it to look at something, they'll search TikTok and they'll watch people using it or video reviews, which I find really interesting. And I think it's just ChatGPT or AI and search will be an automation of that. It'll become more natural rather than the old-fashioned search engine type in, find your website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were challenged to use TikTok, weren't we? But as yet, we haven't.
No,
ventured
we've
down
sort
that
of
route.
stayed away from it. I mean, you see things about TikTok like it's the Chinese are spying on you and things like that. So you're never quite sure. I wouldn't put it past the Chinese to be spying on us, to be fair. But it's we've just not ventured into jigging
I
about
think
on screen, have we, and
No.
stuff?
there's definitely positives and negatives to it. I think even without you putting a lot out that obviously publicly visible, I think it's changing people's attention spans as well. So obviously you used to read a book or watch some long form content, which would be really like half an hour or more. Now people's attention span might be that first 6 seconds of a video, or so I think it's not always positive, but it's not something you can change. I don't think, is it? I think it's the sign of the times that younger people are digesting content in a different way and using technology in a different way, and that you just have to adapt to it. I think more than anything.
Yeah. Because people used to use YouTube as a search engine. Well, they
Probably
still
still
do.
I
But
do.
Would you say that TikTok would be taking over from YouTube?
I think for younger generations, it already has. Yeah, I think I can't remember the exact stats, but I'm sure if you look them up after this, you find that TikTok is the biggest search engine within that younger age demographic, and that is their default where they go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Gosh, I love YouTube as well.
You can still go on YouTube, love. They're not going to shut it down.
Still, because I was talking about this with someone else, specifically someone that did content. We were talking about this in AI and how it might affect people's job roles and things like that. AI will still have to go and collate the answers and get that information from somewhere. So there's always going to be a role for a website and to have the content and to have the right content on your website or to be pushing the right things out as a business to be educating your client base. It might just be that it's consumed in a different way going forward is probably what I think could happen.
Yeah. God, no, it's interesting times, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting times. A silly question. Is there anything you think we should have asked you that we haven't asked you that's people might find interesting? Have you got any top tips or anything like that
I mean,
obviously don't give all your secrets away, Jamie, but any top tips for
my top tips would be, so I'd heavily encourage everybody to look at automation. So even if you're a small business and you don't have any tech sort of budget or spend, automation is still there for you. So there's a tool called Zapier that people might have heard of. You can use it for free. There is paid tiers as well. But what I'd encourage people to do is work out where your time goes. So one thing I did, this probably 5-6 years ago now, I had this cube on my desk. And in each side, I'd written the task on, so it might be emails, phone calls, like client work, whatever kind of task I had that day. And it worked with the software. So every time I was on the phone, I'd turn it to the phone call side. And what it did was it recorded my time throughout the day, throughout the week. And one thing I never realized was how much of my time went into emails. So, for example, the little icon would pop up in my Outlook while I'd be busy doing something else. I'd think, oh, that's important. I need to reply to that now. It will only take 2 minutes. I'll reply. What was actually happening was not only did it break me off for 5 minutes, but then it took me 5 minutes to get back focus on the task I was doing.
Yeah.
And my time was just going. It was something ridiculous. Like 60% of my working week was spent in Outlook, and it just wasn't productive. So I did that first. And then what I'd recommend people to do is if they can work out across an average week or an average day where the time's going, then look at tools like Zapier or look at your process. There's plenty of free tools that will automate, and give you that time back. So in your Outlook example that I just used, you could get a system, Sanebox is one I've used in the past, where it will hide all the emails it doesn't think are important and only critical emails will come in. And then at 2 predetermined times in a day, you actually go on and spend that time going through your emails. So it's a block of time rather than it being kind of small. Or use Zapier to arrange kind of your meeting invites. Like for you guys, if you've got someone booking onto a kind of co-working day or a visitor day, how do you manage that? Is it time intensive to take that system, that create an invite, do all the things around it? Could you automate that process? So you might spend time doing it once. If you get 100 people a month visiting your website and booking on a course or a day, you've saved that time back within a week. So I think work out where your time goes, but be analytical about it. And then I'd look at tools like Zapier, like the Microsoft 365 Cloud, and kind of other things like that. And I'd look at creating a task list or a priority list of what can I offload and how much time is it going to save me. Because I think once you've done it once, it is addictive. You'll buy into it and you want to do it more and more and more. Whereas the first time, I think it will be.
It's a bit of an eye opener, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think I'm one of those where I've looked at sort of automations and stuff, and the sort of setup puts me off because I just think, oh, it'd be quicker just to do it myself and just do it rather than set it all up. I've got zero patience for anything like that.
I can vouch for that. Zero patience.
Yeah, no patience to do like the groundwork. Because I suppose I guess I'm set in my ways, and that's.
So I think for me, I had the same. Like I think it's quite natural. Everybody has that, but I think that's why I did that exercise with the cube. So once you see how much time that task takes and how often you do it, and you can clarify, this is going to save me an hour a day or an hour a week or a month, whatever it might be. It then gives you the motivation to do it because you know exactly how much time you're going to get back. When you're kind of just stuck in the route of I'll do it because it's easy.
Is that a special type of cube you've got then? What is it? Is it linked electronic? Is it something you've made yourself, or is it?
No, it was something I bought off the internet. It was about £100. I can't remember what it is. I'll try and find a link and send it to you after this. But no, it was designed to find your time and where it went. Right. So you basically
can use things like Clockify, can't you, to do
anything? Yeah.
I always forget to turn it on.
That's it. It's having it on your screen and turning it on and turning it off again and stuff like that.
27 hours later.
That's why I like the cube.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, it's something physical and you can see it and you can just,
Yeah, literally the timer ran all day and all you did was just put it to whichever side of activity you're doing, and it was a 2-second thing to flip it. So no, it was a massively eye-opening exercise for me when I first did it, and then again, like I say, it triggered that if I can quantify how much time it's costing me, I'm more willing to put the effort in to fix it or create a system that reduces it.
Yeah. Well.
Although I'm not sure it's a good idea for me because then Tracy would know how much time I actually do waste. So I'm not sure. So don't rush with that link, Jim.
You could code it and put something hidden in that.
No, please do send the link along. Yeah, it'd be interesting to have a look at that. Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure Timula rings a bell. It might be called Timula. But I will find you a link and send it over to you.
Oh, my pen's run
Now
out.
your pen's run out there. You've not well written. There you go. Try that pen. It's some good stuff there, I think. If people do want to get in touch with you then, Jemmy, and find out more about what you do or how you can help them, what's the best way?
So our website is everon.co.uk, so that's everon.co.uk. Obviously, my name's Jamie Marshall. People can find me on LinkedIn also. I'm quite big on LinkedIn. Or people can drop me an email on jamie@everon.co.uk, and I'll obviously help or advise where I can.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll put, like Trish said earlier, we'll put all those details in the notes anyway, in the show notes, so that people can access them and get to you if they've not quite caught it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you very much.
Really
That
nice.
was really helpful.
Yeah,
and,
I've really enjoyed our chat. Really interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Thanks, yeah.
encourage a few people to automate a little bit more and save themselves
Save some time, yeah.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
Take care.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
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 We're almost at the end of this week's show, but just as a reminder, before we go, don't forget to book your place at one of our online networking events where you can meet some great business owners and build those business relationships. The best business comes from the best relationships, and the link is in the show notes.
We'd also like to mention our books, which are available on Amazon. How to Improve Your Business Networking Skills, 52 Tips to Help You with Your Networking. Our Notably Networking One-to-One Networking Notebook, a place to keep all your notes from all those follow-ups one-to-ones. And last but not least, our 90 Days to Your Success Journal, where you can plan, set and plot the actions you will take to achieve your goals.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on In Business Talks 2 Friday Fix. We hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, all that we ask is that you simply tell a friend about the show. And please follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd really appreciate it.
So until next time, this is Ian and Tracy, and together we are in business.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.